Hello and welcome to the Broadcasting 227 Studio Familiarization assignment. Let's get started. Just as a refresher for how the audio consoles in our studios work, let's go over the basic functions you'll need for this project. Pot number 1, as it's labeled underneath the slider, controls your main microphone. Pot number 9 will control the volume of the computer as is shown by its label. These are essentially the only two you'll need for this project, but we'll cover more options later if needed. Now you'll want to open up both NextGen and Adobe Audition, which should both be located on the desktop. NextGen will be used to play the required PSA and donut audio, and Audition will be used to record your assignment. Pull up the Audition window and click File in the upper left-hand corner. Click New. In the New Waveform box, select the 44100 option, the Stereo Channel option, and 16-bit resolution. Click OK, and the main window should now look like this. Now that your Audition recording is prepared, pull up NextGen. To log in, simply type KRNU as the username, leave the password box blank, and click OK. If it's not already open, click Control on the top bar to open up the control room. Open up the Auto Roll Cart Deck by clicking on the button labeled Cart Deck on the bottom right-hand side of the control room window, right here. This should open up a separate window containing multiple recorded PSAs. Play whichever one you want by clicking the gray Play button next to it. To open up your donut audio file, you'll need to open the production menu. To do that, go back up to the top bar of NextGen and click on the production button, which should look like a waveform graphic. That should open up the production menu box if it's not already open. Don't be intimidated by all the different buttons. Just find the one labeled Beds, which should look like a bed with a few music notes above it, and click on it. Once the bed files come up, select the one labeled 227 entry point followed by the number of the studio you're in. That should open a box like this one. Click on Wizard Editor on the right-hand side halfway down the window to open up the Wizard Editor screen. Any audio from the last editing session loads into the middle track, but don't worry about that. You can either erase it by pressing the equals key on the keyboard to highlight the track and hit delete, or you can leave that file alone and simply double-click the margin left of an empty audio track to select that one. The red arrow will move to that track to signify it's the selected track. Just don't select the bottom track. That will change the root audio of the entry point file when you exit, and we don't want that. To locate the donut file, click File in the upper left-hand corner of the Wizard Editor window. Select Load Library, and a box like this one should open. Click the Network button at the bottom, and then select 227 Class Library from the directory list. Click on 227donut.wave and then click Open. That should load the file into whichever track you selected previously. The donut is now loaded up and ready. The audio channel it will play through depends on the track you loaded it to. The top track plays on channel 9 on the Yamaha console, the next track down on channel 10, and so on. In order to operate both NextGen and Audition, you may need to resize their respective windows. The NextGen window automatically stays on top of everything else, so you'll need to drag Audition and NextGen to places where you can see both effectively. Once you have your live copy ready to read, start your recording on Audition by clicking the red Record button on the bottom left of the Audition screen. You should then see the recording moving from left to right as it records audio like this. The timer on the bottom of the window shows you how long your recording is. The solid colored lines here display your audio levels. Try to keep your recording in the green to yellow zones with minimal peaks into the red. After starting your recording, move the NextGen Wizard Editor screen back to a position where you can play the donut when you need to. Now go ahead and work through the 5 parts of the project, starting with the announcement of your name and the studio in which you are recording. Being sure to leave a slight pause between each of your elements, continue on to the first of your 2 live PSAs using a script of your choice from the file folder in the materials box. Try to read smoothly and with as much interpretation of the written copy as you can manage. Pace yourself so it takes from 29 to 31 seconds to read one PSA. After the first live PSA, select a recorded PSA from the cart deck to play. Take note that each row in the deck is numbered, and the first number corresponds with a pot on the audio console. Rows numbered 1 play on pot 9, rows numbered 2 on pot 10, and so on. You can see how much time is left in the PSA to the left of the play button. The background of the row will turn blue when the PSA is finished. You might want to fade your microphone down during this PSA so as not to capture any unwanted sounds in your recording. Once the PSA is done, turn your microphone volume back up and read the second live PSA you chose from the materials box. Remember to read smoothly with proper interpretation and pace yourself. If you aren't already, you'll need to wear your headphones for the donut portion of the project, as you need to hear the audio to know when to speak. When you're ready, click the play button to the right of the track containing the donut audio. Once the intro is done, fade down the donut audio and read the live copy over the quieter middle section. You'll have to paste this as well to fit it with the donut's quiet segment. Once you're done reading, fade the donut back up and let it finish. Now, once your segments are completed, switch to Audition and hit the stop button above and left of where the record button is located. The complete waveform should load into your screen. Moving your cursor to the end of the recording will let you know how long it is. To listen to your recording, have Pot 9 up on the Yamaha console. If you're unsatisfied with your recording, double-click inside the waveform window to highlight the entire track and delete it with the delete key on your keyboard. Now just repeat the recording process by pressing the red record button again when you're ready to re-record, if needed. To save your recording, drop down the File menu and choose Save As. From there, select the Big File Cab drive, then the BRDC 227 directory, then the 01 Studio Familiarization folder. Find the subfolder with your last name and save your completed project as your last name. Be sure to save it as a Windows PCM file, as is shown here. When you're all done, close out of Audition with the red X in the corner, and to close out of the NextGen Wizard Editor, click Exit in the lower left side. If you don't have any audio in the bottom track, a box will open that asks if you want to continue editing. Just click No, and the Wizard Editor screen should close. Close out of the Beds dialog box by clicking Cancel. Close the Auto-Roll cart deck if you haven't already, and then close NextGen by clicking the X in the top corner. Now put all of your physical copy and these instructions back in their respective folders, fade down all the levels on the Yamaha console, and clean up the studio before you leave.